Well, we've done it. We've showed you 15 years of radiation increases going on in the sun. We told you that people were not going to keep letting us show you these increases. We told you that this site was going to be taken down. It was taken down, and then it was put back up. And then what happened? um, a miracle turnaround. Even though the sun is hotter than you, when you walk outside, and brighter than you've ever seen it, the instruments are telling you you're not feeling what you're feeling, and you're not seeing what you're seeing. But we all know that we've reached a critical level where ultraviolet is penetrating the ozone. It's making it to the ground. Anytime ultraviolet C is making it to the ground, we should be measuring for something even more powerful, the really far ultraviolet and the X-rays. We should be able to measure those, and we should be measuring those, and those should be, being posted all around the world, but they're not. And we've called out the Maunder minimum proponents, and we thought some of them were just mistaken, buying into far-fetched, loosely connected, more obscure theory than the actual real hard data was suggesting. The real hard data is when you walk outside and you try to lay out in the sun for 8 hours, like you used to be able to do 20 years ago, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Okay, that's not a solar minimum. They're starting to report on other things, magnetics, harmonic cycles. But the bottom line is all of that flies in the face of what you feel when you walk outside and you look around and you read the news and you see the forest fires and you see where the ice has gone. So, I think we should prepare. I think we should prepare for food shortages and water shortages. I think everybody who does has a nice sense of a fallback position, a sense of security. I know I sure do. And when this stuff starts to expire, I'm eating cheaper than anybody else on the planet right now. I have $1.50. I have giant boxes of shredded wheat I bought for $1.50. And some of those cereals, when they taste old or stale, you just pop them in the toaster oven and heat that cereal up, and it crispens it up. It gives it a toasty flavor, and helps to kill any mold or anything that you are afraid of in there, to make your survival food last a little longer. We wanted to also share with you that we always felt the Maunder minimum was a disinformation started by somebody higher up in a psyop kind of a thing. Yes, it sounds paranoid, but the bottom line is when somebody's out there telling you you're going to freeze to death, and then the world is on fire, something's wrong, something's amiss, something's just something should be just like snapping in your brain. Now we warned you that the instruments were going to be compromised that measure the irradiance. So really, all you got left is people measuring ultraviolet C on the ground, because I think that's a good indicator of what other energies are getting through, and they're still getting through. So what are you going to do about that? The bottom line is there's ultraviolet C making it to the ground as I am recording this. And while I'm recording this, there's people saying we're going to go into an ice age. I cannot wait for that ice age. I really cannot wait for our ice pack to recover, for the methane to be retrapped and reabsorbed. I cannot wait for that ice age. But I don't think one's coming anytime soon. When your backyard is on fire, there's nobody worried about an ice age. And when you see that a Maunder minimum confirmed, there's nothing confirmed. It's all theory, and people have this little connected, experiment on harmonics, which are models and animations that that fly in the face of what happens when you walk outside and sit in the sun. The other thing that lends itself against, none of this being a Maunder minimum is the amount of methane that's gone into our atmosphere. Methane is 10 to 20 times more powerful of a greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide could ever be. And so when we see tons of methane going in the air and ice age people completely ignoring the methane, then you know they're pushing something for some reason. They're not searching for the truth when you don't talk about methane. It took us 5 years to get them just to talk about solar irradiance, and they didn't talk about solar irradiance, and they couldn't talk about solar irradiance. And then what happened? All the solar irradiance data gets taken down. What happens? Yeah, and then comes back up again, showing things that are completely and totally unprecedented, which wouldn't make much sense if it's related to sunspots, because we just compared to last solar minimum where we had, fewer sunspots than we had in the previous several solar minimums, and we didn't see energy dropping off the sun. It's really proportionate, not disproportionate energy that are measured by sunspots. The number of sunspots you have, the more energy coming off the sun you're supposed to create. The other thing that lends itself to no sunspots is the weakening of our magnetosphere. I would say the stretching and the resonance of our magnetosphere weakens our ability to trap charged ions that are coming from the sun. The failure to trap ionized particles allows extremely hot things into our stratosphere and into our lower layers of atmosphere. One of those, some of those are coming in at 10,000 degrees Kelvin, 15,000 degrees Kelvin. So you don't want too many of those getting in. But we've had a weakened magnetosphere, so how does that lend itself to global cooling? And again, the Maunder minimum people just don't want to talk about it. Just like they would never talk about irradiance, would they? We were the only channel showing you irradiance data, and I mean only. The other thing that doesn't lend itself to global cooling is the loss of ice, which then turns us from a reflective planet into an absorbing planet. Our oceanic temperatures are the hottest they've ever been. So when the oceanic temperatures across the globe are at their highest levels ever, that's not really the time to be screaming ice age, is it? And of course, they don't show you that either. So it makes you wonder why somebody pushing so hard to sell a theory, why is it so important? The real important thing is that you get ready. And the last thing that, and maybe next to last thing that does not lend itself to an ice age is the incredible amounts of helium in the solar system that are still being measured, but are systematically, these instruments are systematically being removed and taken away, and pretty soon we will not know what the helium cosmic rays are doing. But some of those are neutral, and neutral meaning they don't respond to our magnetosphere, and they come in at 3,000 to 5,000 degrees Kelvin, and correlate to loss of ice. Loss of ice correlates to increased methane. So none of what really is going on lends itself to cooling. It's actually lending itself to warming. The spraying of aerosols is another thing. I mean, how hot would it be without that haze up there? So you take that out of the conversation, then who really is looking for a truth, and who's looking to push or force you or pigeonhole you into a theory that so far doesn't look like it's going to play out very, very quickly and at any time soon. A major impact of an asteroid VEI 7, VEI 8 super eruption. Yeah, that could cool us down quite a bit, but it had nothing to do with the sun. But how do you test the grand solar minimum channels? How do you test them? You ask them questions as a groups of people. You ask them lots of questions, but you ask them about things that they don't want to talk about, and see if they'll even discuss it. And we just touched upon them: methane, a weakened magnetosphere, an increase in cosmic rays in the solar system. How the methane spikes. The methane is horrible. The methane blowholes. Methanes are leaving blowholes all over the planet. Just poof, big old plumes are letting go. Well, how does that lend us to an ice age? So, the way they talk, there's an ice age right around the corner. But meanwhile, in the last 10 years, over 100,000 documented heat deaths took place on the globe. Tens of thousands of people in Pakistan last summer, they died. There were so many, they just were digging graves and throwing people in the graves. Pretty harsh, huh? You didn't hear about that. China, Russia, they're not really reporting all their heat deaths. It's hard to, and when an elderly person dies in their home with no air conditioning, half the time it's reported as natural causes. The person was elderly. And as we lose crops, and as we lose coral, and as we lose trees, and as the wildfires burn out of control, just know this: we should be praying for a modern minimum, but not preaching one. Until next time, be prepared, not scared.